My name is Amelia, and I was born with cerebral palsy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Growing up wasn't exactly a walk in the park. My parents, well, let's just say they had a hard time wrapping their heads around having a kid like me. My brain works just fine, but my spine has a mind of its own, and my left arm is a bit of a slacker. All this adds up to make me look a bit different from your average Joe or Jane. In my case, Jane. I remember those early days, even though I was just a tiny thing. My mom couldn't bring herself to hold me at first. It was like I was some kind of alien or something. Instead, I had a nanny taking care of me. She was nice enough, I guess, but it wasn't the same as having your mom there, you know. The nanny was my grandmother's idea. Grandma, now there's a woman who knew how to love. She didn't give a damn about how I looked or moved. To her, I was just her granddaughter, plain and simple. She was wealthy, which came in handy more times than I can count. As I got older, things didn't exactly improve on the home front. Walking was a real pain, literally. I'd take a few steps, then, bam, faceplant on the floor. My mom would just stand there, watching me struggle. "You need to learn to get up on your own, Amelia," she'd say, not even trying to hide the disgust in her voice. But I wasn't stupid. I knew she just didn't want to touch me, like I had cooties or something. Things really took a turn when I hit the big 5 years old. Mom got pregnant again, and 9 months later, out popped my little sister. Talk about a golden child. This kid was everything I wasn't. Cute, bouncy, and, most importantly to my mom, normal. From that day on, it was like I'd become invisible. Mom was all about her new baby girl. She'd spend hours taking selfies with her, posting them all over social media. "Look at my beautiful daughter," she'd write, and I'd think, what about me? Aren't I your daughter too? As I got older, things didn't improve on the mobility front. Crutches became my constant companions, and on bad days, I'd roll around in a wheelchair. It wasn't ideal, but hey, you have to work with what you've got, right? My mom would always come up with excuses for why I couldn't go out. "Oh, Amelia, it's not safe for you in other people's houses," she'd say, or "the shopping center isn't equipped for someone like you, sweetie." But I wasn't born yesterday. Even at that young age, I could see right through her. It wasn't about my safety or comfort. She was just embarrassed to be seen with me. God forbid her friends see her with her special daughter. So my childhood became a never-ending cycle of 4 walls and a ceiling, while my sister got to experience the world, make friends, and create memories. I was stuck at home, watching life pass me by through the window. My parents didn't even try to hide the fact that they hated going anywhere with me. It was like I was some kind of burden they were forced to carry. When school time rolled around, you might think things would change, right? Fat chance. Instead of sending me to a regular school where I could interact with kids my age, my parents insisted that Grandma foot the bill for a specialized school. "It's for the best, Amelia," Dad would say, not quite meeting my eyes. "You'll be with kids who understand you better." What he really meant was, "We don't want you embarrassing us at a normal school." But hey, who needs social skills and diverse experiences, am I right? So, off I went, driven every day by a nanny Grandma hired. Don't get me wrong, the nanny was nice enough, but it wasn't the same as having your mom or dad drop you off, you know? Now, Grandma, she was a whole different story. While my parents were busy pretending I didn't exist, Grandma was all about helping me thrive. "Amelia, my dear," she'd say, her eyes twinkling, "how about we take a little trip this weekend?" And just like that, I'd find myself on adventures I never thought possible. We'd visit museums, go to the park, even take short trips to nearby cities. For the first time in my life, I felt like a normal kid. Grandma didn't stop there, though. She was determined to give me every opportunity to improve. Massages, physical therapy, experimental treatments, you name it, she paid for it. "With the right care, there's nothing you can't do, Amelia," she'd tell me, her voice full of conviction. "You're going to have a wonderful life full of friends and joy, you'll see." I remember this one time, after a particularly grueling therapy session, I was feeling pretty down on myself. Grandma noticed, of course, she always did. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" she asked, sitting down next to me. "Why bother with all this, Grandma?" I said, gesturing at my uncooperative body. "It's not like I'm ever going to be normal." She took my face in her hands, forcing me to look at her. "Amelia, listen to me. There's no such thing as normal. Everyone's got their own struggles, their own challenges. Yours are just a bit more visible, that's all. But that doesn't make you any less worthy of love, of friendship, of a full and happy life. You hear me?" That was Grandma for you. Always ready with a hug, a word of encouragement, or a surprise treat. She believed in me when no one else did, not even myself. And slowly but surely, I started to believe too. It was Grandma's birthday, and she dropped a bombshell on us. She wanted to celebrate at a fancy restaurant. Now, for most families, this wouldn't be a big deal, but for us, it was like she'd suggested we all go skydiving. The next day, Mom came into my room with a forced smile. "Amelia, honey, Grandma's having a birthday dinner at a restaurant, but you're not feeling well, right? It's probably best if you stay home." I knew the drill. I was supposed to nod and agree, be the good, understanding daughter. But something in me snapped. "Actually, Mom, I feel fine. I'd love to go to Grandma's dinner." The color drained from her face. "Oh, but the restaurant might not be accessible, and you know how tired you get. It's really better if you stay home." Before I could argue, the doorbell rang. Mom's eyes widened in panic. "That's Grandma! Quick, get in bed and pretend you're sick!" But it was too late. Grandma bustled in, took one look at me sitting up in my wheelchair, and smiled knowingly. "There's my girl. All ready for dinner, I see." Mom started sputtering some excuse about me being ill, but Grandma wasn't having it. She walked right up to me, put her hand on my head, and declared, "Doesn't feel like a fever to me. Come on, Amelia, let's get you to that restaurant." And just like that, we were all piling into Grandma's car, me in my wheelchair, my sister in her frilly new dress, and my parents looking like they were headed to a funeral instead of a birthday celebration. The restaurant was buzzing when we arrived. I saw relatives I hadn't seen in years, and to my surprise, they seemed genuinely happy to see me. As we settled in for dinner, I couldn't help but notice how Mom positioned herself as far from me as possible. She was chatting and laughing with everyone else, but it was like I didn't exist. I tried my best to eat neatly, I really did, but sometimes my hand just doesn't cooperate, you know? I saw Mom wince every time I dropped food or made a mess. Grandma, bless her heart, didn't miss a beat. She helped me when I needed it, chatted with me like I was the most interesting person at the table, and made sure I was comfortable. At one point, she called out, "Susan, why aren't you helping Amelia with her meal?" Mom's face flushed red. She quickly scooped up my sister and plastered on a fake smile. "Oh, I can't manage both girls at once, Mom. You know how it is." I saw the flash of anger in Grandma's eyes, but before she could say anything, Dad stood up abruptly. "Well, this has been lovely, but I think it's time we headed home. Amelia looks tired." I wasn't tired. I was having the time of my life, but I knew better than to argue. As Dad wheeled me out, I caught sight of Grandma's face. She looked sad and disappointed, but she gave me a little wink. It was her way of saying, "Don't worry, I've got your back." As we drove home in silence, I couldn't help but think about the evening. Yeah, it had been awkward and uncomfortable at times, but for a few brief moments, I'd felt like part of a real family. And you know what? That feeling was worth all the awkwardness in the world. The feeling of awkwardness accompanied me all my childhood whenever we had visitors. You know, the normal people my parents actually wanted to associate with. I'd get the same old song and dance. "Amelia," Mom would say, her voice sickly sweet, "why don't you go to your room for a bit? We're having company." At first it stung, but over time I got used to it. So I'd wheel myself into my room, shut the door, and wait. I'd hear the laughter, the chatter, the sounds of a normal family having a normal time, and I'd sit there alone, trying not to feel like a freak in my own home. But you know what? I'm nothing if not adaptable. I taught myself to cook, even though my hands shook and I dropped more than a few plates along the way. I learned to draw, pouring my feelings onto paper when I couldn't express them out loud. And I wrote. Boy, did I write. Poems, mostly, little snippets of emotion that I could never quite say out loud. The funny thing is, for a while there, I thought I had an ally in all this. My little sister. When she was just a tiny thing, she used to love me, like really love me. She'd toddle into my room, all big eyes and chubby cheeks, and just want to be near me. I remember this one time, she must have been about 3 years old. She came into my room while I was drawing. "Mia," she squealed. She couldn't quite manage Amelia yet, draw me. So I did. It wasn't great, mind you, a wobbly circle for a head, stick arms and legs, but to her, it was a masterpiece. She hugged that paper like it was made of gold. But then Mom walked in. The look on her face when she saw her precious baby girl cuddled up next to me. You'd think she'd caught her playing in mud. "Sarah," she snapped, "come here, get away from your sister." Sarah looked confused. "But Mommy, Mia drawing me." Mom snatched the picture away. "That's nice, honey, but let's go play in your room instead, okay?" And just like that, it started. Every time Sarah tried to get close to me, Mom would pull her away, like I was contagious or something. Over time, Sarah learned. She stopped coming to my room, stopped asking me to play or draw for her. By the time she hit her teens, she was just like Mom. I'd hear her giggling with her friends in the living room, but I knew better than to go out there. One day, I wheeled myself out to get a glass of water, forgetting she had friends over. The look of horror on her face when she saw me, it was like looking at a mini version of Mom. "Amelia," she hissed, "go back to your room. My friends are here." And just like that, I was back in my sanctuary, my prison, my room. But you know what? It didn't hurt as much as it used to. Because in that room, I wasn't Amelia the freak, Amelia the embarrassment. I was just Amelia, the girl who could cook a mean omelet, draw pictures that made people smile, even if those people were just me and Grandma, and write poems that captured all the things I couldn't say out loud. Meanwhile, life went on, and graduation came. Man, what a mix of emotions that was. There I was, surrounded by my classmates, other special kids like me, and you know what? For once, I felt normal. We were all different in our own ways, but here, in this moment, we were the same, kids who'd made it despite the odds. I remember looking around at all the smiling faces, the proud parents, the teary teachers, and for a moment, just a moment, I let myself feel proud too. I'd done it. Despite everything, I'd actually done it. But then reality came crashing back. My eyes scanned the crowd, searching for familiar faces. Mom? Dad? Sarah? Nope, nope, and nope. They were probably sipping cocktails on some beach right about now, enjoying their much-needed family vacation. Funny how their idea of family never seemed to include me. But you know who was there? Grandma, front and center, beaming like I'd just won the Nobel Prize or something. When they called my name, I swear her cheers were loud enough to shake the rafters. Fast forward a few months, and suddenly the house was buzzing with excitement. Mom and Dad's 20th wedding anniversary was coming up, and they decided to go all out. They were making a whole damn movie about their happy family life. I remember thinking, well, this should be interesting. For 2 weeks straight, it was like living in some bizarre reality show. We were dragged from location to location, the local entertainment center, some picturesque nature spot, even a yacht. Where'd they even get a yacht? We changed clothes more times than I could count, posed for endless photos, recorded cheesy congratulations, and even sang songs. It was exhausting, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't also kind of fun. For once, I was included. Sure, Mom would fuss about how to position my wheelchair so it looked natural, and Dad would get this pinched look on his face whenever the photographer had to take extra time to get me in the shot. But I was there. I was part of it. I even wrote a special poem for Mom and Dad. I spent weeks on it, actually, agonizing over every word, practicing in front of my mirror until I could recite it without stumbling. When it came time to record it, my heart was pounding so hard I thought it might burst out of my chest. "Mom, Dad," I started, my voice shaky but determined. 20 years of love and life, of joy and strife. Through all the ups and downs, you've stood strong, a testament to love's enduring song. I kept going, pouring my heart out in verse. When I finished, there was a moment of silence. I looked up, half expecting to see tears in their eyes or something. Instead, Mom was fussing with Sarah's hair and Dad was checking his watch. "That was nice, Amelia," Mom said, not quite meeting my eyes. "Very creative. Now, let's get Sarah set up for her piano piece, shall we?" And just like that, my moment was over. But you know what? I didn't let it get me down. Because for those 2 weeks, I'd been part of something. I'd contributed, and even if they couldn't appreciate it, I knew I'd done something special. The big day was approaching fast. The director had been working his magic, weaving together our new footage with clips from the family archives. I was buzzing with excitement, eager to see how it all came together. When the finished product arrived, I wheeled myself into the living room ready for the grand unveiling, but Mom quickly intercepted me. "Oh, Amelia," she said, that fake sweetness coating her words like cheap syrup. "We're saving it for the party. You'll see it with everyone else. It'll be more special that way." Finally, the day of the anniversary party arrived. Grandma's place was decked out like something out of a movie itself. Her sprawling lawn had been transformed into an outdoor cinema with plush pillows scattered across the grass for seating. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over everything, guests started to arrive. "All right, everyone," Dad called out, clinking his glass for attention. "If you'd all like to take a seat, we're about to start the show." There was a flurry of movement as people settled onto the pillows. I stayed in my wheelchair, parked next to Grandma. She gave my hand a squeeze as the movie began to play. The opening shot was of Mom and Dad on their wedding day. They looked so young, so happy. Mom's dress was beautiful, and Dad couldn't take his eyes off her. I felt a lump form in my throat. Then came a montage of their early years together, vacations, parties, lazy Sundays at home. They looked so in love, so carefree. I searched each frame, waiting for my entrance. But as the timeline of their lives unfolded on the screen, a sinking feeling began to grow in my stomach. There were shots of them with friends, with colleagues, with other family members, but I was nowhere to be seen. Then came footage of Mom's pregnancy, and my heart leapt. This is it, I thought. This is where I come in. But no, the next shot was of Sarah as a newborn, Mom cradling her with a look of pure adoration, Dad hovering proudly nearby. The movie continued, showing Sarah growing up, her first steps, first day of school, dance recitals, family vacations. It was like watching a parallel universe where I didn't exist. Then came the footage from our recent shoots. I held my breath, waiting to see myself on screen. There was our family, singing and dancing, looking like the picture-perfect unit. But I wasn't there. It was as if I'd been erased, cut out of every frame. As the reality of what I was seeing sank in, I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. This wasn't some mistake or oversight. This was deliberate. They erased me. My own family had wiped me from their history. Grandma took one look at my face and something in her snapped. She marched over to the projector and shut it off. The lawn was plunged into an awkward silence. "Susan, David," Grandma's voice cut through the night air like a knife. "What the hell is this?" The guests started murmuring uncomfortably. Dad stepped forward, trying to calm things down. "Now, Mom, let's not make a scene." But Grandma was just getting started. "Make a scene. You want to talk about making a scene? How about erasing your child from your family history? That's one hell of a scene, if you ask me." Mom's face had gone pale. "It's not like that," she stammered. "The photographer said Amelia wasn't photogenic. We were just trying to put our best foot forward." Grandma let out a harsh laugh. "Oh, that's rich, Susan. Shall we talk about how you wanted to abandon her the day she was born? How I had to promise financial support just to get you to keep your own child?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. I felt like I was going to be sick. "I've supported this family for years," Grandma continued. "Paid for your vacations, your luxuries. All I asked was that you love your daughter, and you couldn't even do that." Suddenly, Sarah jumped up. "Shut up!" she screamed. "Just shut up! She's embarrassing. I didn't want her in the video either." The silence that followed was deafening. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My own sister. Grandma turned to my parents, her voice cold. "Well done. You've raised one daughter to be just as intolerant as you are." Then she dropped the bombshell. "You know what? I'm done. Amelia is now my sole heir. Every penny I have will go to her," Mom exploded. "Are you insane? What does she need money for? She needs a full-time nurse, not a fortune." "Get out," Grandma said quietly. When they didn't move, she repeated it louder. "Get out of my house. Get out of my life. I'm done supporting your comfortable little existence." For a moment, nobody moved. Then Mom laughed nervously. "Come on, Mom, you can't be serious. I've never been more serious in my life." Grandma cut her off. "Leave now and don't come back." It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. My parents and Sarah, looking shell-shocked, gathered their things and left. Grandma slammed the door behind them with a finality that echoed across the lawn. As the dust settled, I became aware of movement around me. The guests who had witnessed this whole ugly scene were approaching me one by one. Aunt Karen hugged me tightly. Uncle Jim patted my shoulder awkwardly but sincerely. Even some of my parents' friends, people who had never so much as looked at me before, came up to express their support. So, there I was, suddenly living in Grandma's big house. Talk about a plot twist, right? It was like stepping into a whole new world, one where I wasn't a dirty little secret to be hidden away, but a person worthy of love and respect. About a week after the great family meltdown, that's what I started calling it in my head, Grandma sat me down for a chat. "All right, Amelia," she said, that familiar twinkle in her eye. "Let's talk about your future. What do you want to do with your life?" I blinked at her, caught off guard. No one had ever really asked me that before. It was always assumed I'd just exist, I guess, be taken care of, but never have dreams of my own. "I don't know," I stammered. "I never thought—" "Well, start thinking," Grandma said, not unkindly. "The world's your oyster now, kiddo. What do you love doing?" And just like that, it hit me. "I love writing," I said, my voice growing stronger, "and drawing. I want to create things, Grandma. Beautiful things." Grandma's face lit up like a Christmas tree. "Well, why didn't you say so? We'll get you into the best damn art and literature program we can find." Before I knew it, I was enrolled in the literature department of a nearby college. Grandma had made sure the campus was fully accessible and even hired a part-time assistant to help me with any physical tasks I couldn't manage. That first day of college, I was terrified. I kept waiting for the stares, the whispers, the pitying looks I'd grown so accustomed to. But they never came. Sure, people noticed my wheelchair, but it was with curiosity rather than judgment. And once they got to know me, the real me, not the shadow I'd been for so long, the wheelchair became just another part of who I was, not my defining feature. I threw myself into my studies with a passion I never knew I had. Literature opened up whole new worlds to me, and my professors encouraged me to explore my own voice through poetry. My art classes taught me new techniques, ways to express on paper the thoughts and feelings I'd kept bottled up for so long. And you know what? Turns out, I wasn't half bad at this stuff. My poems started winning competitions, my artwork was featured in student exhibitions. For the first time in my life, I was being seen for my abilities, not my disabilities. It wasn't all smooth sailing, of course. There were days when the pain, both physical and emotional, felt overwhelming. Days when I missed my parents and sister despite everything. But I had Grandma and I had my art, and slowly but surely I was building a life for myself. Now, here I am, holding my very first published book of poetry in my hands. It's a slim volume, nothing fancy, but it's mine. Every word, every illustration, they all came from me, from my experiences, my pain, my joy, my growth. As I flip through the pages, I can't help but smile at the dedication. To Grandma, who taught me that being different isn't a flaw, it's a feature. And to everyone who's ever felt invisible, may you find the strength to make yourself seen.